Let's get to the next session where we talked about lead gen up till now to the point where you have understood the 10 commandments, you understood the systems, you require the core elements, the whole about the entire thing about the lead magnet being the largest strategy here, the emotional connect, the storytelling capabilities, sources that your traffics get converted into respective leads by virtue of what are the key important elements. And then we discussed how it happens at a larger scale, right? When people invest so much of elements, and I probably sooner or later you will get to that zone. So how you start and pick up your current ones for such activities is very important. So with that, we are coming to a conclusion for lead generation, right? Activities. So let's kind of see what has been happened up till now for blitzscaling and what will happen in subsequent steps as for you to continue so that you don't get lost in the whole details of that being getting provided to you. All right. And then we'll end up with a challenge. Clear? So here's what it is. So in the last 90 days, or rather in the first 90 days, you went through the entire rise up model, you went to niche clarity, you did result planning, you created a small your MVP for the first one. You started targeting towards your funnel building activities, right from a traffic to lead convert to what funnel you want eventually at a smaller scale. Okay, you did that with smaller systems and whatever freebies available out there. Then you launched your asset after your MVP matured to that point, and then you started creating a lead magnets for this specific asset that you created. Okay, with that, excuse me, you matured your systems which already existed, the RFM and the BOP systems, and then you moved into building your social groups, which is your community. All right. And in the process, you finish or you try to complete about 50 consultations, right? So that made you come to a point where you could then jump to Rise 2. This is all 90-day process. And by that time, your goals, since you would have achieved that goal, the outcome should be, as we have discussed, excuse me, the respective revenue goals and the people goal, that means your number of customers. The from a perspective of blitzscaling and the lead gen activity and the traffic there, what you should be doing now is creating long form videos. Okay, the 80% if you remember, for 1 per day and then moving into 3 per week. All right, which ideally then should move into maybe 2 a week of sorts. That's how this should be working. Now this is in the during of 90 days. Okay, so maybe the first month you do 1 a day, you move into 3 a week, and then you go into 2 per week, because by 3 per week you would have had enough traction with a lot of people who want to see and know your content and your digital assets. All right. Now this should lead you to at least 400 or 500 organic leads. All right. And this leads is not your traffic, where the traffic now getting converted into the lead magnets that you give in, etc., into actual leads. All right. And then you will use these leads for your funneling activities. Okay. Now, while you're doing this, your social group, that is your community that you're trying to build, would have at least 500 members. Okay, so this should be your goal. Now, this is revenue targeted goals and number targeted activities as an outcome. So this is what you should be doing. Okay, if you want to be in a stepwise format and you want to totally utilize what you learned up till now, this is what you should be doing, and you'll have 10,000 questions during that period of time. That's what you bring up during the conversations we have in our Rise circles. Okay, this is again for people who have not used Rise 1, Rise 2 effectively to meet the challenges or use those challenges to jump to next level. You should be doing this. Okay, if you want to get into blitzscaling mode. So with that, there is after those 90 days, we get into the next 90 days, right? When you're moving from gold to diamond. Incidentally, for blitzscaling, you are in the diamond mode right now. Okay, but this is a recurrence because If you have not done these things, you will have to do this now in order to meet what you need to do for Blitzscaling. All right. So, because please understand, right? While you're doing this, this will result into certain revenue for you, the income that we're talking about, and that will result into your capital being employed for your Blitzscaling activities, right? And that because you're having a run right now, right? You're moving very fast. You want to scale up at the rate that you want to generate the kind of larger revenue that you're looking at. Okay, so for next 90 days, you would have done 40 sales at least for American or our European, respective conversion ratios of USD, Euro, or Indian rupees. It should be 75 USD or roughly about 5,000 Indian rupees for L1 memberships of whatever digital assets you create. Right? This is again a challenge, right? This is the goal that you should be achieving in virtue of being part of this. What we discussed before this was the virtue of being part of Rise 1, virtue of being Rise 2, this. So 5 sales out of the for the level 2 membership, which you would have actually launched by coming after from the 90 days, prior 90 days. Now you're in the cycle of 90 to 180 days, right? So to repeat, what happens between the 90 to the 180th day? Your lead gen would have started, putting those lead magnets and this and the other. Your webinar selling activities, which adds to your leads, right? Then now your copy, right? Now this is lead, the previous lead gen was more at a level where you have a digital asset, right? Your webinar selling is happening for the second lead, like the second level of activities. So your copywriting is improved now. So you're now writing copy for better storytelling and better communication out there, so that you get the relevant traffic and the leads accordingly. Then you use Facebook ads. These could be paid ads for the campaigns that you're running based on the copy that you're sending out, right? And then you set up your systems now to scale up a little bit, right? And you get into a mode of memberships and the others where you use the next sequence of activities. Now, while you're doing that, you are also trying to put your other, besides your MVP, which is your lead gen for your level 2, right? You are also now trying to mature it at the same time. While the MVP is getting tested, you are now taking a break for your content, right? Because that will require some separate thinking besides the normal social elements and other activities that you're doing for setup. So when you take a content break, you should have completed until the time you come back in the break and start with the next element that you're ready to launch your L2, right? This time. So this could be roughly, circa 120 days, I would say, right? 120 days, you're launching your membership. Now you're running your ads for L2 and L1 as a series, right? Suppose you have a book, for example, right? You do two books of a series. If you're a course, you've done L1 course or L2 course. If you're selling some graphic elements, maybe you've done a series of first one, the second one comes to play. If you're selling, say, music, or you're selling some sort of, a journal, for example, of doing whatever your niche is all about, right? The second level of journal, L2, comes into play. So that level of membership that comes into play now will run its ads as part of the series, and then you YouTube yourself through by 2 weeks a day, or 2 videos a week, or starting from, you would have done 3 videos a week before that. So by the 120th day, you are probably now starting to do a week, and then you go into your webinars. So now you start frequency of webinar to increase because you have become a storyteller. You know your copywriting activities, you know what your assets are all about. Your assets have become now, after your MVP activities, into the rest of the form. And then you hold your weekly inner circle meetings so that you come to a point of achieving the sales that we are looking and targeting for, so that you now move into the diamond zone to now get to next level. Hence, these were important.